Dynamite download.
Hey everybody, it's Dynamite Download, and thanks again for tuning in. We have a breaking interview with Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order, one half of the Recruitment Specialist, and one of our absolute favorites on BTE. This guy shares so much of his journey to AEW, some of his favorite skits in the Dark Order, and that whole process of how that comes together. Who he's going to be recruiting next, which happens to be Sting. They're pushing to get Sting into the Dark Order, guys. You're going to want to listen to this one. And some of his favorite wrestlers, past, present, and future. Cannot wait to see what he has in store for us in 2021. Talk some big goals and talked about some potential titles down the road.
Welcome to Dynamite Download, everyone. Your home for all positive coverage on all elite wrestling. We have Crayfish over there in the mitten, and I am SPD, and we are joined by a recruitment specialist, a member of the Dark Order, Alex Reynolds. Thanks for joining us. How you doing, Alex?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. Now, we were just talking, and we love hearing people follow their dreams and having their hard work pay off for them. And it's clearly showing how excited and happy you are being a part of AEW. But before we dive into AEW, when did you first get into the wrestling business? You know, what made you want to become a wrestler?
I mean, it's just like that same old kind of story. I was just an obsessed wrestling fan. It consumed me, and I was fascinated by pretty much all aspects of it. And my big thing was growing up, I feel like every kid that watches wrestling is like, oh, I want to do this, that never shook me. Like that never left me at any point in my life. But so I would always say I'm going to do it. And then I remember sitting in a college class like my freshman year, and I was like, man, if I don't do this now, I don't want to look back 20 years ago or 20 years, look back 20 years later and be like, man, I wish I just tried it just to see. Mm-hmm. So then I started and I'd already been researching wrestling schools. Already kind of gave my parents the heads up, like, hey, like this is what I'm going to be doing.
That's great.
And then I found New York Wrestling Connection in 2006 and started there.
Now, wow. And so that's really inspiring. I mean, we were, like you said earlier, we were big, huge wrestling fans growing up. And, we dabbled in amateur level, way backyard wrestling just for fun.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
100%. Yeah.
That's where I got my SPD gimmick. So, I took a lot of Rob Van Dam's type of, SPD.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, I didn't go to my junior prom because me and my friends were backyard wrestling. And when I say I didn't go to my junior prom because we were wrestling, I mean we didn't have any dates, so we decided to backyard wrestle instead.
That's good.
Pretty much.
I like
that's
that.
Pretty much how that story goes. The cool way is, we're just gonna blow this dance off. That's lame.
We don't need these.
Yeah. But the real reason is, we just couldn't get anybody to go with. So
yeah, but who's laughing now?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that's a great story. And now shifting back to AEW, when did you first hear about? I mean, because you have a long history on the Indies and dabbling in WWE a little bit. As when did you first hear about coming to AEW?
Man, so obviously we had heard rumblings that there's going to be this new company.
Yeah.
So, and at that point, I'd been wrestling for maybe 13 years. And every couple of years you kind of hear, oh yeah, there's going to be this new company,
right.
And then it never happens. But then you hear all right, Young Bucks are involved, Cody's involved, they're not going to jump into something if, they don't think it's going to work. Mm-hmm. So before there was even an AEW announced, we had reached out to the Young Bucks, Johnny and I.
Wow.
Just sent them a message hey, and we had known them in the past and wrestled them. And So we just said like, hey, like, we don't know if these things are true, but like any chance to work with you guys in the future, like we would just love the opportunity.
Right.
And they're like, oh, cool. Like, we'll keep that in mind, blah, blah, blah. Like nothing's for sure yet, whatever.
Yep.
And we would just kind of stay in contact with them over like the next couple months after like the announcement and the press conferences and, and then we did a SmackDown in Madison Square Garden. It was John and I against Heavy Machinery.
Wow.
And I want to say that was Tuesday. So that Thursday we got asked to do Dynamite in Philadelphia.
Amazing.
So it was even before the first Dynamite that they reached out to us asking for us. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Oh my God.
And we weren't even a tag team anymore. We had broken up and we were like ready to do our separate things. Like, hey, we've done tag team stuff for a long time now. That was in like July, May, or like over the summer. And then we did the Garden and we got the match. And I was like, man, we've done some pretty cool stuff as a tag team. Like this is awesome. Like, who would have thought that we would have the opportunity to wrestle at the Garden together?
A dream.
Yeah. So, and then, 3 days later we get hit up to do AEW as a tag team. And I was okay, now I get the signs, guys. Like,
Yep.
Like, I think we need to put our single stuff on hold for now and refocus.
Well, that's a testimony of, like not giving up, and continuing to push forward, having that patience. And the wrestler's journey is not an easy one. We've talked to a couple of the people on your team here, John, and that has been a consistent thing, is persistence, continuing to push through. You never know what is on the other side if you're willing to continue to pursue it and keep pushing. And it's wild that you mentioned that you guys were considering breaking up, because we could not imagine AEW television without you guys, honestly.
Yeah.
And not just the television product, but all the stuff that you guys have done on BTE. You guys are so special and dynamic, and I genuinely mean it. You're hilarious, and I
appreciate that.
Things light. We really like this last year was hard for a lot of folks. Between you and John and the rest of your team, you kept a lot of people smiling. So I just want to tell you, we respect that a lot in you. And so I transitioning into this sort of the potential breakup of the Recruitment Specialist before you even started. How did that idea transition? Because you guys obviously started out in a very different gimmick than what has transpired over the last year, right? I mean, from the Beaver Boys, where you guys were sort of the chasing the girls and stuff, to the Dark Order, which when we talked to John, he really pushed that he loved the original idea of the Dark Order, with Evil Uno's gimmick that he saw on the indies and creating a chair for himself out of minions and stuff. But my goodness, have you guys transformed who you are since then? How did the Recruitment Specialist idea how did that come up? I mean, because that is really special television.
Just to kind of touch on what John was talking about, like, I feel like there was a lot of missed things we could have done with the original incarnation of the Dark Order. Like, as soon as we joined, I was and I think my wife was starting to get a little worried about me. I was like deep diving into like cults,
Illuminati,
and like watching every kind of documentary, reading about cults. I wanted to do, I remember I watched something that like the cult Nexium put out, like just like this kind of like a recruitment video where, they're just like super happy and like talking about how great this is. But they're just soulless. Like, you look in their eyes and there's just like, you can just tell they're evil.
Right.
So I was like pitching stuff like that. I wanted to, when the plan was to still do West Coast shows, I was like, I think I was talking to Matt Jackson. I was like, hey, like I just watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was like, hey, we should do a vignette like at the like Manson family ranch.
That would be cool.
Like just
Wow.
like, you know, just kind of really like go into like this cult thing. So yeah, like I do think there was some like missed things because our journey as a group has been like, you know, like we don't get it. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, this is really cool. You know, like,
Yep.
So we've had a lot of like almost kind of identity crisis, where it's like, all right, we're this really cool cult. Okay, awesome. Let's go with that. And then Brodie debuts. And it's like, well, now you guys are like this corporate entity where we want you dressing nice, but you're still an evil cult. And it's like, okay, you know, and then we did like one show with Brodie and then we were off TV because of the pandemic. And I'm like, all right, like, let's do a promo, like talking about that. And it's like, well, where do we do it? Like, it's like, hey, let's find creepy places, but dress really nice. So it's like, well, what are we like? So it was very, very confusing. The recruitment specialist idea kind of started with, it goes hand in hand literally with us starting to do BTE stuff. And that started with us just out of pure, I want to say part frustration and part desperation. Brodie had just wrestled Moxley at Double or Nothing. He had nothing next, like after that. John and I would barely be used on Dark, to the point where we thought we were getting fired or replaced because like they brought in 10 during the Georgia shows because we couldn't make it. And then we were able to come back down and they debuted 5. And now both of them are getting wins on Dark. And we still haven't won a match. And it's like the whole point of the Dark Order was like, oh, join us, like stop losing, start winning.
Right.
Yeah. So we're like, oh, cool. Once we join this group, we're going to start winning matches. Nope. We're just going to keep losing. So we were like kind of miserable. And I don't like, it wasn't like a bitter frustration, but it was just like, we felt like we were just there and not contributing anything. So, and I hated being upset and bummed out at my like dream job, you know, like this is what I worked so hard for. And now I'm just coming to work, not wrestling, coming out for an entrance or two, and then going home and just pouting the whole time. I didn't want to do that. So I had just thought of like, all right, well, maybe we can do stuff for BTE, you know, maybe we can add a little comedy aspect, you know, me and John can just try to recruit people for the Dark Order and just tell them how much it'll help them and it'll, you know, they'll start winning. And the funny part is that like they could just always look at us and be like, you guys haven't won a match yet.
Like you. Exactly.
So it's like we can at least get some comedy out of this. And then we ended up going to TV the next loop, and just literally by accident, or not by accident, but just, it was perfect timing. The Bucks were talking to like Uno and Stu, and they're like, hey, like, we don't know what you guys are doing yet, but like, if you want to start doing stuff on BTE, like, let us know, we'll put you on. And then Uno told me that. I was like, oh, I have an idea. Here we go.
Wow.
So BT was really supposed to be, and this is like how nice Stu and Uno are. They were full-time contracts or fully contracted. We were per appearance.
Wow.
So they're like, hey, BT will be just you and John. It'll be a chance for you guys to show individual personality, not be background guys, and hopefully this will get you full-time contracts.
That's great.
But then we did the first one with all of us and Brodie, and he threw the first roll of papers, and that was it. We're like, all right, we're going to have to do like, me and John will have our own separate thing where we try to recruit people, and then we'll have a group one.
Well, I mean, Alex, that there's so much to unpack there, man. I mean, thank you. I mean, honestly, man, thank you so much for being so candid. Like to talk about what a story of the persistence, and it speaks volumes on the family feel that we get from the Dark Order. You guys clearly enjoy like each other and rooting for each other. There's something special about what you've tapped into. And again, like this is the repeated routine, like sort of that mantra of what it seems like in your career is, you know, just when you think things might be going off the tracks, you're able to push through and something great happens. And I think that this example of the recruitment specialist just sort of breaking out of almost discontent, right? Almost like that struggle of where am I going and what am I doing? Hitting that gold out of that, just trying to enjoy your job a little bit more is pretty amazing. And I have to say, like, it speaks volumes on your character as far as to continue to want to push forward. And I'm so glad to see you successful in this regard.
No, I mean, to be fair, that has just come from looking back over our careers and seeing we had a lot of like, oh, we'd reach this cool milestone and then like almost like a step forward, 2 step backs kind of thing, you know, like, oh, we're starting to do PWG, oh, that's awesome, and then kind of being complacent and being like, oh, well, we got there, that's cool, all of this stuff will probably come to us, and it never did, and then that would fade away. You know, so there were always like moments where we think, oh, okay, well, we're here now, but this should come, but it doesn't. So I didn't want to fall into that trap. And thankfully, we've just been well aware of those instances and learned from them, that now it's like, okay, well, I don't want to lose this. So let us do something to, you know, build our value and make sure that, you know, we can stay here.
You guys definitely built your value for sure. Tenfold. I mean, you guys are definitely the highlight of the week for us in BTE. Constantly original content, and it's great stuff. And you know, storylines are definitely developing, and the fans feel it, especially when there are fans there. You guys are popping for the fans. When social media was blowing up when you guys got announced last week that you're added to the tag team battle royal. So the support behind you is great. You know, for BTE, what kind of inspiration, where do you come up with these hilarious skits? Do you guys sit around together, or do you guys each like at home write them in your phone, and then when you meet up together be like, hey, I got this? Or you guys texting each other at 3 a.m. at night, be like, oh, I got this funny thing?
It's kind of all of those combined. You know, I've always loved shows like The Office and stuff like that. Like, great. So a lot of the times we'd think of something and it's like, okay, well, how could we build a bit around this? Like the slumber party episode that we just did, the butcher bought John his like sleep shirt that he's been wanting for months that says positively exhausted. He just bought it for him. So I was like, oh, let's have a slumber party. Like, that's something we would do. Let's have a slumber party episode. And then we would just all sit in and like pitch like, oh, we can build a fort, we can do, you know, and everyone puts their little spin. The Valentine's Day episode, I sent a text last Monday before we even flew out. I was like, guys, like, we almost forgot that it's Valentine's Day. Like, we need to do a Valentine's Day episode. And then Cabana just came up, hey, let's make Valentine's for Wardlow. And like, then we just start putting our own, you know, so a lot of it is like, I'll sometimes just throw things out there, like Cowboy Day. I was like, hey, we need to have a day that we just dress up as cowboys. And then everybody throws in, oh, what if we did this? What if we did, you know, the only one I was like fully like pretty much is my baby is the Christmas episode. The Caroline? In like October. In October, I was like laying in bed one night. I was like, oh, we need to do like a Halloween episode. And then, a Christmas episode. And I literally, it was like 1 a.m. I got my phone and I literally wrote the 12 Days of Christmas, but Dark Order style.
I love that song. That was great.
And my wife just looked over. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I have an idea for a bit and I have to write it down because I will forget it. And then I wrote Hangman the Handsome Cowboy on the flight home. And I was very hands-on and very militant with how people were doing their parts. So
yeah, take it very seriously.
Yeah, like this is my baby right here. Like, so yeah, it's really, a lot of it will just come. Sometimes we'll have an idea ahead of time. Sometimes it's like, oh God, like we have a couple hours to film something. What can we do? And thankfully we've all just we know each other and our group dynamic so well that we can just find like one little thing and then build something around it.
It's really great that you say that part, because I'm interested as a fan on the group dynamic, because when I watch you and Johnny, John's got this big over the top personality, him, right? And you're always like, it's so important on comedy teams where you have that straight man who has those witty, like dry, like comments that can sometimes make you crack up. You always are such a nice counter to John. Can you elaborate a little bit on like the roles? Because obviously Colt, you mentioned him and his creative process. That guy's been through it all. He's seen everything. Can you kind of briefly talk about the way you guys all fit together to create this happy family? Like, who's like, as far as the workhorses of the group that you look to as far as training partners, who do you see a lot of potential in, stuff like that? Just kind of off the cuff, looking at the Dark Order moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, man, I'd like to see like 5 and 10 get featured more. I think kind of like us, and like once we started kind of to get going with BT, we all kind of made the decision to be like, all right, like, we got taken care of. Like now it's time for us to like, hey, 5 and 10, like we need to come up with individual characteristics and characters for you guys and what you'll do. And, and let's use this to help get all of us, to where we want to be. I think Anna has been such a great addition with as little as she does. I think it's fantastic. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like
no.
She doesn't need to, if she does a lot, it's just not funny. She just sits up top perched, just looking over at the
kind of like embarrassed by your goofiness. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So like, I'm glad that she's in the, women's like tournament coming up. Like, I think that'll be a good showcase for her. And then like, Stu and Uno are just, they're so good and have been teaming for so long. And they're kind of like the same dynamic as us. Like, Stu and Johnny are very similar. They're very intense. And then me and Uno are just kind of like the straight man. Like,
That's very true.
Yeah. So it's weird. We have a very similar,
dynamic
characteristics, but dynamic, but it's also different when the 4 of us are together. And then like, man, Colt has helped us a lot as far as like comedy and putting stuff in the right places and adding little things, but like for me personally, like it's sometimes tough because John is so over the top and out of control, that like all the attention goes on to him. Which, as it should, like it's hysterical. He cracks everybody up, including me, on camera all the time. So it's like, I know that I can't match him over the top,
right.
So like, I just try to find my little
your
my
niche.
little quips. Yeah. And
yeah.
Like, it took a while to get comfortable with that. But I've started to see like, okay, people are getting like kind of my sense of humor and my part in all of this. I just look to it as like Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, like any famous comedy team. Like You know?
I talked about it with SPD beforehand,
Yep.
like the Chris Farley and David Spade. That's
Yes.
my era, and you very much have that David Spade thing where you keep him in check a little bit, and you have your little quips and things like that.
Yeah, and you need that balance.
Absolutely right.
It's just all balance.
Absolutely right.
Now you guys balance each other in the ring and outside the ring, and
Right.
I'm a huge fan of your guys' offense and the tandem wrestling skills. You know, we love fast, fluid moves in the ring. Now, what are some of the teams that you face throughout your career that you enjoy being in the ring with, that comes so natural and flow together, where you guys can really put on like A+ matches with your eyes closed, that you really feel the chemistry?
Man, the Young Bucks are just so good. I really love the opportunity to have, because we've wrestled them like a few times in AEW, but not in like a straight up one-on-one or like straight tag team match. So I really hope we get that chance soon. I think that would be a lot of fun. Their chemistry is just off the charts, and you know, I think that would be very cool. Another team that we've wrestled a bunch is Team Tremendous, Bill Carr and Dan Barry. We've known those guys for years, and just those are just so much fun. You know, Bill is like this like big boss man, like just big guy that just throws. It's so much fun to wrestle them. But yeah, I'd say the Young Bucks. They're just too good.
They are definitely top of their game right now. I did rewatch that Fatal 4-Way you guys had in CZW with Team Tremendous, Young Bucks.
Yeah.
Just watched that today.
OI4K.
Yeah, that was a fast-paced, high-energy match. A lot going on. It was a fun match to watch for sure. Now I had to ask. I asked Silver this. It's kind of an off-the-cuff question. Like, what celebrity, being a recruitment specialist, what celebrity would you want to recruit to the Dark Order? It could be alive or dead.
Oh man. Who did John say?
There's no pressure. Yeah, there's no pressure because his answer was Fred Durst.
Yeah, that's a good one. Not surprised either.
We were both Limp Bizkit fans growing up too, so I'd support that. Yeah.
God, a celebrity. I would have to say probably Sting.
Oh,
the musician Sting.
Oh,
he could lead our morning yoga classes, and then we can just tell everybody, "Hey guys, Sting is in the Dark Order," and people just be like, "Oh, that's awesome! I can't believe you got Sting," not knowing that it's the singer Sting.
There you go. That's a BT right there.
That is an awesome idea.
Dark Order. Sting joins Dark Order. Pass out flyers to everyone and spread the word.
You start playing Fields of Gold. I love it. Oh man, that is fantastic. So moving forward, you obviously have a lot of great material that you still could tap into. What are some of your favorite things looking back on the last year and just all that transformation that took place, Alex? What's your favorite moment or two that stuck out to you over the last year?
Oh man. The couple like ones that like while we were filming hurt so much because of pure laughter. We did it was the one where I forgot what it was about. But it was the one where Uno pulls out the Jaguars helmet and Brodie throws the papers at him.
Yes.
It was like something where Brodie's like, he comes in and he's like, you know, 3 of you guys are doing great. And he looks at like 5'10" and Stu, and he's like, 3 of you guys are just fucking staring. He starts ripping into us. And it's just so hard we got out of there. My abs were hurting. I had a headache because we were just dying laughing. I loved the one where me and John try to frame Stu.
In the bathroom?
In the bathroom, yeah.
Yeah.
And like it starts with like Anna just chilling in the men's bathroom. That one was one of my favorites. and then the Cowboy Day and the Christmas special were just, I think like really upped it to the point where we're like, we don't know how we're going to top these.
To top this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the editing on Cowboy Day was just mind blowing. So those were, and it's just wild. Like we come up with these ideas and we're just like, this has made us more popular than like wrestling on TV, which is just wild.
Absolutely.
And has, because of the reaction that we've been getting from fans through like these silly videos, like we've been featured on TV more, and it's like,
love it.
Oh man, like we never
Great.
thought, like we never did that. Like, I guess it was our end goal, but like our thought was like, hey, let's just have fun with this and be creative and come up with stuff. Maybe we'll get on TV once or twice, and then like, so it's just, I don't know. It's just wild. There's just silly videos.
No, and that's the thing. Like you could tell, like, talking to John, he mentioned that, like, he wants to be like entertaining TV and all those things, and you could tell you love the wrestling side. I could tell that, and when you see it in your ring work, you could tell you're polished. Who are some of the people you mentioned growing up? Having a lot of different inspirations. You're a diehard wrestling fan. Who are some of your fans that you like? Sorry, so who are some of the performers that you really became a fan of, that you just sort of geeked out over, and who you you kind of looked up to over the course of your career as a fan?
Oh man, there's so many. Probably top of the list is Shawn Michaels. Just so good. And then like I love Tully Blanchard. To the point where like I get nervous around him when I see him. It's like, hey Tully, hey.
I would be the same way. I love that old school, man. Absolutely.
Like, Tully was just so good. And then you have like Mr. Perfect. And like I look up to guys for different things. Like I love Kevin Nash. It's like he just had this super cool charisma.
Like sexy, man.
He wasn't like this, come on, like kind of he was just this cool guy that you just wanted to hang out with. Like, so it's like, all right, like what can I take from that? And then guys like Edge and Jericho, like Christian, like, and that, so Edge and Christian was pretty much what I was kind of telling John, like, hey, I think this is the niche we kind of need to go to, like these.
That's a great tag team.
Yeah. And like, just they're individual people, but they're a team, but they're these like aloof, silly, goofy guys that like do these funny pre-tapes, but the second the match starts, they're not comedy. Right. Like they're not doing silly stuff in the ring. Like so we always try to have that split of like, okay, we can do funny, silly, goofy really well over here. Yeah. But the second the bell rings, it's like 100% like focus and aggression. And like we're not playing around anymore.
I appreciate that. I mean, honestly, I think that makes you guys like entertaining in and out of the ring. I think that makes you guys really special. I love that about you guys. SPD, I know that you love that too, right? Like that sort of that back and forth that they can get in the ring.
Yeah, it shows a lot of maturity and just experience of being able to. And Jericho is a perfect example. And speaking of him, in AEW specifically, are there any mentors that really kind of like took you guys under your wing? And who do you look up to on the roster that really for advice and all that? You mentioned Tully, but is there anyone else?
I'd say like the first person that comes to mind was just Brodie. Being in the same group, we got to spend a lot of time with him and got to know him really quick. And he would always help us with our matches, tell us what we did well, but more importantly, tell us what we did wrong and what we need to do better. we'd go to him for advice backstage. We go to him for advice, non-wrestling related, like real life stuff. He was the best, and he was definitely the person that like took us under our wing. Now, like I'll go to Jericho, I'll go to Cody, I'll go to the Bucks. I'll probably go to those guys for advice on things, especially someone like Jericho. Like he's literally been through and done everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's Chris Jericho. Why wouldn't you go to him and ask him a couple questions?
He definitely seems like the godfather there too, and willing to really spread the knowledge and uplift the talent. I mean, hear him on his podcast. He's just so encouraging and uplifting. That's what we try to do at Dynamite Download, is uplift others. As we're growing, we want to just shine the light on people. It's easy to critique something, like how Jericho took so much heat for a move he botched a little bit. But I mean, the guy look at how well shape he's in. Look at what he can do week in and week out. He's in the ring almost every single Dynamite. The guy's a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The fact that he's still doing a line salt at 50 is mind-blowing. I'm terrified to do one. I'm terrified.
You and me both, and I don't. Jeez. So as we, we're big fans of the Dark Order. As we start to wind things down, and we even started Join Dark Order January back in mid-December. Thank you. We were really trying to promote Dark Order because we believe in you guys, and we believe great things are coming for 2021. And we wanted to try to spread as much love and support for you all,
especially with this attitude, man. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
It seems like the whole Dark Order is just fun group. We would love to join one day and hang out in the Dark Order layer. So that would be great.
It's a good layer.
All right. One day, hopefully. What are some of your goals personally, I guess, maybe as a team with you and John, or individually, and as a group for 2021 at Dark Order? Where do you guys see it? Because Crayfish is the first to tell anyone. He took a complete 180 on you guys from, debut to now. And as you mentioned earlier, it was kind of like a little bit of a roller coaster.
Oh yeah.
But the announcers said that you are the home team of AEW 2 weeks ago on Dynamite. That was such a great compliment. The announcers are saying for your guys' main event, and we see great things for 2021. What do you want to accomplish?
I'd say, like, obviously top of the list is the AEW tag team titles. That's kind of number one. I think for, like, as a group, like, just to keep pushing and keep creating content, and it's so tough because there's so many of us. So I just want this thing, especially with our dynamic now, and I feel like now we all know who we are. So I'd like to just more clearly define that, and expand on this new kind of Dark Order, especially when it comes to, like, Dynamite and stuff like that. I'd love to have, I know the Join Dark Order t-shirt did really well, but I'd love to have, like, figure out a design where it's like a Bullet Club shirt, where it's like, I want to get to, like, that level,
right?
Where, like, people are wearing, hey, like, look at this fucking Dark Order shirt, like, and see it everywhere. That's what I want for the group. But yeah, like, the tag team titles are probably numero uno for us right now.
You seem like such a leader and such a selfless guy, man. I have to say, it coming away so impressed. SPD, well, because so much of this interview, Alex has been willing to talk to us about the the inner workings of the Dark Order and all that he sees. Why don't we pull the curtain back a little bit and get to know who Alex is a little bit with your trademark segment, SPD. Go take it away, brother.
So fast 5 questions, just random off the cusp, to kind of wind things down for the interview. So first question would be, if you can go on a road trip with anybody, who would it be? Alive or dead?
Probably George Washington.
Okay. If you could have a dream,
way back.
Yeah. If you could have a dream match with anyone in any era, 1-on-1, who would you do? Who would you
Shawn Michaels.
Favorite sports team?
I don't really watch sports. I'll just go with the Yankees.
Okay. Have to, from New York, right?
Yeah. And I want to change my road trip one. I'm going to say Frank Sinatra.
Okay.
Ooh,
not George Washington.
That's a good one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Especially New Yorker, yeah. Favorite guilty pleasure for food, like your favorite cheat, or you can't resist?
I would say ice cream.
Okay. What flavor?
Yeah. Just straight up vanilla.
Me too. I like a plain vanilla.
Maybe like a chocolate chip cookie dough if I'm feeling real fancy, but
okay.
Yeah, just straight vanilla. I'm good.
Is your wife the same way? Is your wife the same way? Is like ice cream her thing? What's her favorite flavor?
I'd say ice cream or pizza.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Great go-tos.
Date night at the Reynolds house sounds awesome.
Chip cookies. I think she'd pick chocolate chip cookies.
Nice.
So. All right. Last question is actually from one of our favorite fans, and you may know her, Full Tilt Deb.
Yes.
She says, "What wrestler made you pop as a kid, and who makes you pop now?"
Oh man. As a kid, definitely Sean. That was just this is
a great promo for XPK.
Yeah, seriously. Now, man, I'd have to say
Sting the musician.
Yeah, I'd have to say Pac.
Oh, my gosh!
Either Pac or Kenny.
Oh, you're talking to the biggest Pac fan in the world right here.
What a way to end this interview.
I'm pretty sure he's like the probably best wrestler on our roster right now.
You just made Crayfish's night because of
you
that.
have no idea, man. I'm beaming ear to ear just because I feel like he doesn't get the love that a Kenny does. I feel like Pac is every bit as good as anyone in the world. So that's quite the answer, man. It makes me respect your love and knowledge of wrestling even that much more.
He's so good, too good.
Well, and honestly, Alex, you clearly have your eyes as a wrestler yourself. It's so much of where you've come from. You could tell, man, your respect and love for the business. It's there now. I think we talked a lot about leadership in the locker room, the maturity that you show and the thoughtfulness that you seem like to portray as a human being, man. Like I can tell people are going to be coming to you before you know it. I really respect where you're going, and SPD and I are not kidding. We believe that the Dark Order has bright things in store. We're really excited to see what's ahead for you guys. We're pushing for a full action figure line that's released as the Dark Order, just a series wave, man. I feel like the crowd would be all about that.
Every time they announce it, because I'm a big action figure guy, so every time they are like, "Oh, here's the lineup," I'm like, come on," and then it's like, no,
it's gonna come.
Another Cody.
Put it out there.
It's gonna come.
It'll happen.
We're big believers in positive manifestation. We believe it's gonna happen. So, Alex, before we let you go, where can fans find more of this amazing insight, funny humor? Where are you at on social, Alex?
Twitter and Instagram. It's at YT Alex Reynolds. And I usually will post stuff about my cat or I don't know, just commentate on random things.
You're one of you're amazing to fans. You're always very supportive to your fan base, and we love that about you. We'll make sure that we push that.
I really try. It's it doesn't get lost on me that I also still find it very weird that people want to talk to me or tweet at me, or it's very I don't get it. So I try to make sure, like, even if it's just like a like to a post, you know, but I'll always try to like respond, or, you know, and I do appreciate everyone that like reaches out, or, you know, tells us like, oh, this brightened up my day. It's like, you know,
It's true.
It's weird when you think about those bigger picture things and not, hey, I'm just filming a bunch of silly videos with my friends.
It's true to have that, you know, a little bit goes a long way for some people, and it could really make or break their day, their week, their month, you know, a like, a repost, anything like that, to be able to just influence others. And we've noticed that even with like our show, it's so great to be able to like get people through the day, you know, or just put a smile on their face. Cause we do try to do some goofy, fun videos on Friday night, a live show where we're just having drinks and just talking shop live, and people can commentate on, and we keep it, people come back every week and it's their highlight of the week. And so we just, any way to put a smile on our face, it makes us happy, you know, and it's the same for you. And
it goes both ways too, man. It goes both ways too. Cause I mean, like when you have that interaction and you know that you make that impact, Alex, when like, I'm sure it adds a certain level of, I don't know, pride in how far you've come. I mean, your career, you've come a long way, man. And to know that, you know, you can give back that way. I mean, we talked about it with Full Tilt Deb. She's an example, giving a birthday shout out like that, just giving likes and giving those types of things. It goes a long way, and it can make people make their day. So appreciate you spending time with us. We know that your schedule is better now than it ever has been, but we know your time is very, very valuable. So we really appreciate you spending this time with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. And we're going to be down at Dynamite next live show.
Oh, nice.
We just got our tickets.
That's awesome.
Crayfish has been known for losing his voice within probably the first 5-10 minutes of a sports game, and or getting us kicked out sometimes, because
I promise I'm not doing that. But no, John mentioned that he missed the fans a lot, and
my God,
we're gonna do our best to make it feel like a full house.
I appreciate that, because man, like, you know, it's wild that a lot of the guys on our roster haven't wrestled in front of like a full AEW crowd.
That's so true. You didn't think about that.
And like, thankfully we were lucky enough to have that experience. And it's like, oh man, you work so hard to get to these full arenas, and there's thousands of people there, and it's like all taken away. And it's like, you know, you just, I remember when they first started, it was like 500 people. It's like, oh my God, like you heard it and you were like nervous. So like, you know, hopefully things just keep, you know, progressing, and everyone's staying safe, and, you know, we do things by the book, but hopefully we can start allowing some more people to come in. Cause man, like you look at old clips of AEW shows, those crowds, there was never a bad crowd. Those crowds were just on fire from beginning to end.
Well, every Dynamite, we talk about it all the time. Every Dynamite, you guys always deliver. There's always more. It's just like, it blows our mind how much content you guys get in a show, and no wonder why the crowd was geeking out. I mean, it's such an incredible. There's nothing like the AEW experience. I've been lucky enough to be at a couple live shows before the pandemic, and it's real, man. There's a diehard fan base. Some wrestling fans out there don't get it, people who aren't part of the AEW family, but there's a loyalty and a love for this company, and a lot of it is because of the wrestlers themselves and how authentic you guys are, how accessible you guys make yourselves. There's just I always describe AEW as like a company of dream chasers. You talked about it very early on with Cody and the Young Bucks betting on themselves. And you could tell it permeates the locker room. It permeates the entire value system of this company. It's easy to get behind when people are chasing their dreams. You want to see that happen, right? So,
absolutely.
It's pretty incredible. Thanks again, Alex. We really appreciate your time, man. We can't wait to see all the good things in store. We'll be there to cheer you on the 17th, man.
That's
Thanks,
awesome,
brother.
guys.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you very much.
Thank you.